The moment the gavel sounds, you can feel it. 35 years of silence about to explode into truth. Judge Lake's voice cuts through the courtroom like a blade. This is the case of Jones-Henry versus Jackson. Ms. Jones-Henry stands tall, but her eyes tell a different story. She's claiming that Mr. Jackson is the father of her daughter, Melanie, a daughter who has never, not once, laid eyes on the man she's been told is her father. And today, after more than 3 decades of wondering, of waiting, of wanting, today, she'll finally meet him. Judge Lake signals to Jerome, and as the doors open, Mr. Jackson steps inside. He's not just walking into a courtroom, he's walking into 35 years of unanswered questions, broken promises, and a little girl who grew up without him.
At this point, so wait a minute.
She was a meal ticket. But
No,
$35.
He says, let me introduce you to my wife?
Or did I say that before we got to Missouri?
No.
I didn't tell you before we got to...
And then Melanie speaks. Her voice trembles, but the words land like thunder. "I'm hurt," she says, her eyes glistening. "I feel unwanted." The courtroom goes still. She tells them about the phone call, the one she made when she was just a child, hoping, praying he'd show up. He promised he would. He never did. You can hear the weight of that memory in every syllable. The audience is quiet, some wiping tears, others shaking their heads. And then Mr. Jackson responds, his voice cold, detached. "I don't believe I'm her father."
A little lost, unwanted. This is my first time ever even seeing him. I've never even seen him up, hugged him or anything, and I called him when I was little and asked.
Just like that, the room shifts. The sympathy evaporates. Judge Lake's eyes narrow. This isn't just doubt. This is denial, and it's been going on for far too long. Mr. Jackson leans back, arms crossed, and drops a bomb. He claims he tricked Ms. Jones-Henry, played mind games to get her to admit she'd been with another man. Judge Lake's eyebrows shoot up. "You tricked her?" Her tone is razor sharp. He nods, almost proud of it. "Ms. Jones." Henry shakes her head, her voice rising. "That's a lie. I was only with him." But Mr. Jackson won't let it go. He admits he manipulated her, twisted her words, all to justify his own doubts. Judge Lake leans forward, her voice dropping to that quiet, dangerous place. "Sir, you played mind games. About a pregnancy?" The courtroom erupts in murmurs. This isn't just about paternity anymore. This is about control, manipulation, and a woman who's been gaslit for decades.
You do explain to the court.
When she told me that she was pregnant, I knew that I wasn't.
Ms. Jones. Henry takes a breath and tells the story. They met at a club. He was in the military, confident, charming. They didn't just have a fling, they spent a week together. A real connection, she thought. But Mr. Jackson chuckles, cutting in. "She told me she could fall in love with me the first night." He says it like it's a joke. Judge Lake doesn't laugh.
At Mr. Jackson, I met him at a club. He was in the military all week long while he was there. We wasn't a fly-by-night, we was just together.
She tilts her head, that knowing look on her face. "So that red flag wasn't that bright, huh?" The courtroom bursts into laughter, but it's laced with sympathy. Ms. Jones-Henry looks down, embarrassed but still standing her ground. She loved him, and that love became her prison. Ms. Jones-Henry reveals the moment she told him she was pregnant. His reaction? Nothing. Silence. Cold, distant silence. Mr. Jackson, however, has a different version. He claims she was trying to trap him, lock down a military man for that paycheck. The accusation stings, but Ms. Jones-Henry's voice rises, clear and unwavering. "I didn't need to trap nobody. I loved him." Judge Lake pauses, letting that sink in. She looks directly at Mr. Jackson. "So this wasn't about money. This was about love. The distinction matters, because love isn't a scheme."
A few months, and I told him he wasn't either ecstatic or he just didn't give her a reaction.
And this man dismissed it like it was nothing. Judge Lake picks up the birth certificate, scanning it with a practiced eye. The father section? Blank, empty. Mr. Jackson wasn't there when Melanie was born. Didn't even try to be. He claims he only found out through a child support letter. And then he says it, almost laughing. $35 checks. "That's what I got." The audience groans. Judge Lake's jaw tightens. She leans in, her voice steel. "Sir, when the court calls, you answer."
Paid child.
Mr. Jackson, so how did you find out if you weren't there for the birth and you weren't there to sign this birth certificate?
You don't joke about it, but Mr. Jackson just shrugs. To him, this was always about money. To Ms. Jones-Henry, it was always about family, and then the truth twists even deeper. Mr. Jackson admits, casually, like it's no big deal, that he signed the paternity papers. Not because he believed Melanie was his, but because signing meant extra pay from the Marines. The courtroom gasps. Melanie's head snaps up, her voice breaking. "If you felt that strongly, you should have fought, Ms. Jones." Henry's voice cuts through the chaos. She wasn't a meal ticket. She was a child. But Mr. Jackson mutters under his breath, just loud enough to be heard. "She was $35 a check." The room freezes. Judge Lake's stare could shatter glass. This man didn't just abandon a child. He monetized her.
If I signed saying I am the father of their child, of Melanie.
Legal lesson number 1, when the court calls, you answer.
Melanie can't hold it in anymore. Her voice rises, shaking with fury and heartbreak. "I couldn't imagine leaving my kids like you left me." The words hang in the air, raw and real. Mr. Jackson tries to defend himself, says his relatives told him she wasn't his. Judge Lake presses him, her voice sharp. Then why sign? He pauses, then admits it. For the money. Judge Lake's disappointment radiates through the room. She doesn't have to say a word. Her silence says it all.
Well, Mr. Jackson, you just said some court right now. You just said in court she was your meal ticket. Do you believe that Ms. Jones Henry was just trying to set you up to be the father because you were this military man?
Ms. Jones. Henry's voice softens as she speaks. Years later, she searched for him on Facebook. She confesses, almost embarrassed, I love that man. Even after everything, the silence, the abandonment, the lies, she still held on to that love. She never spoke badly about him to Melanie. She protected his name even when he didn't deserve it. The courtroom is heavy with emotion. This isn't just about paternity. It's about a love that turned into silence, and a silence that turned into pain.
I had great thought of him. I never had anything negative thoughts of him because I still, to this day, felt that.
Mr. Jackson finally admits the truth he's been avoiding for 35 years. I knew I wasn't gonna stick with her. Judge Lake's voice is quiet but cutting. Sir, you created this pain. Melanie's voice cracks as she speaks. You could have at least helped me find out who my real dad is. The scene is suffocating with regret. Because now, after all this time, the damage is done, and no DNA test can undo it. Jerome steps forward, envelope in hand. The courtroom holds its breath. Judge Lake opens it, reads it, and then delivers the words,
All these years to realize that he never thought anything about me. Do you know how hurtful that is? How much that made her hurt?
Mr. Jackson, you are not the father. Ms. Jones Henry's face crumbles. I didn't have anybody else, she whispers, disbelief washing over her. Melanie trembles, tears streaming down her face.
It's been determined by this court. Mr. Jackson, you are not the father.
Really?
35 years of questions, and now she has an answer, but not the one she wanted. Melanie's voice is small, broken. I came for closure. Judge Lake's expression softens. She looks at Mr. Jackson, then back at Melanie. Even though you felt unwanted, he came today out of love. It's a small mercy, but it's something. Mr. Jackson finally speaks, his voice cracking. I'm truly sorry. Melanie exhales, a breath she's been holding for 35 years.
Blame you. I just wish you would have taken care of your business then so I wouldn't have to suffer now. I mean, I came here today for closing.
The pain doesn't disappear, but maybe, just maybe, she can finally start to heal. The gavel barely settles before Judge Lake announces the next storm. This is the case of Hillburn versus Barnes. Ms. Hillburn stands before the court, her husband beside her, and she admits, out loud, for everyone to hear, that she had an affair on Valentine's Day, while married, and now her husband doubts that 10-month-old Soiree is his. The tension is immediate. You can feel it crackling through the room like electricity before a lightning strike. Judge Lake's voice is steady, but her eyes are searching. So, this affair happened around Valentine's Day? Ms. Hillburn nods, barely meeting her gaze. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Barnes stands rigid, his jaw clenched.
Hillburn, you admit that you've been caught up in a love triangle for the past 3 years, which you say resulted in the birth of your 10-month-old daughter, Soiree.
He says she hid the truth for months. Judge Lake leans forward. People started talking, or your wife started telling? The question hangs heavy, because the truth doesn't always come willingly. Sometimes it's dragged into the light.
Soiree's father, you do have doubt.
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
So, Mr. Barnes, what kind of connection have you developed with
And then Ms. Hillburn drops the real bombshell. She admits, quietly, almost ashamed, that she lived with both men at one point. The audience gasps. Judge Lake's expression shifts from disbelief to something harder. Mr. Barnes cuts in, his voice sharp. She wasn't confused. She was caught, the words sliced through the courtroom. Because this isn't just about an affair. This is about deception. And Mr. Barnes has been living in it. Mr. Barnes has been living in it. Judge Lake calculates the timeline. Her voice precise, clinical. The dates between the two men, only days apart.
No, Your Honor, it was always done while I was at work, so I had no idea. The night before Valentine's Day, which is the first time it happened, I was at work. She says she's going to her friends. Okay, fine.
The audience groans. You can see the weight of it settling over Mr. Barnes. Ms. Hillburn insists she loves her husband, her voice desperate, pleading. But Mr. Barnes remains stoic. His silence is louder than any words. Because how do you come back from this? Mr. Barnes stayed, not because he wanted to, but because he felt he had to, for the family. He admits, voice low, that every time he looked at the baby, he doubted. Ms. Hillburn insists the baby looks just like him. But Judge Lake knows better. She knows the emotional burden he's been carrying, and it's crushing him.
Sleeping with both of them while you live in the house with both of them, Miss Hillburn?
Yes, I was.
So, I'm not trying to give anyone tips, but how did you pull that off?
Judge Lake asks the question that's been burning in the room. Why did you file this case? Mr. Barnes doesn't hesitate. I'm tired of being lied to. He accuses his wife of using the baby as a pawn. Judge Judge Lake's voice drops. Serious. That's a serious accusation. The room goes quiet. Because if it's true, this isn't just about paternity. It's about trust. And trust is already shattered.
That you're pregnant with Saray. Who do you tell first?
I told Mr. Barnes first. He said that he wanted to see the...
Ms. Hillburn sobs, her shoulders shaking. I've made mistakes, but I've always told the truth. Judge Lake's voice is gentler now. Sometimes the truth comes late, but it still matters. The courtroom quiets. The anger fades, replaced by something deeper, a heartbreak.
Nodded affirmatively. He does love her, right?
Yeah. And when I told him, he didn't want to believe that she wasn't his.
Raw, unfiltered heartbreak. Jerome brings the envelope. Judge Lake opens it, reads it, and delivers the verdict. Mr. Barnes, you are not the father. Ms. Hillburn breaks down completely. Mr. Barnes stands frozen, stunned. Judge Lake looks at them both. This truth was needed. It's not about blame anymore. It's about closure. And sometimes, closure is the only way forward. But Judge Lake isn't done. She reveals there's a prenatal DNA test result for Ms. Hillburn's unborn child. The drama isn't over. It's just beginning.
And he only tries to be the dad to try to get Mr. Barnes.
To
provoke
provoke
him.
me.
Oh.
Yes.
So using your baby as a pawn, and you're still sleeping with...
The courtroom doors swing open, and Judge Lake wastes no time. This is the case of Marsh versus Reed. Ms. Marsh and her mother stand united, accusing Mr. Reed of denying one-year-old Tamari. The reason? Allegedly, because Ms. Marsh wouldn't be one of his 4 wives. Judge Lake's disbelief is instant. Her eyebrows shoot up, and you can see the wheels turning. This is going to be something.
All the players.
Yes.
So, Mr. Barnes, you got a girlfriend. Does she know about this relationship?
She suspects, but when you don't see your girlfriend for...
Mr. Reed jumps in fast, claiming Ms. Marsh told him the baby might not be his. Ms. Marsh shakes her head, her voice firm. That's not true. The tension rises. Accusations flying. Denials echoing. The courtroom braces itself. Ms. Marsh tells the story. They met in Columbus, Ohio when she was just 18. He was in California, long distance. Romantic, she thought. Years later, they reconnected. It seemed real until she discovered his other wives. Judge Lake's jaw drops.
Are going to get the DNA test results for Saray today. But I am going to order you. I am going to send you directly from this courtroom.
And then he told her, voice dripping with confidence, I'm coming for you. Red flag. Giant, waving red flag. Mr. Reed threw a $2,000 birthday party for Ms. Marsh's daughter. She thought maybe he was serious. Maybe he cared. Then he invited her to a resort. Sounds romantic, right? Except his wife and another woman showed up. Judge Lake's voice is incredulous. I have never heard of a man taking a woman on vacation to meet his wife. The courtroom erupts in disbelief. This man doesn't just have audacity, he has nerve.
It's been determined by this court. Mr. Barnes, you are not Saray's father.
Ms. Marsh's mother speaks, her voice heavy with regret. She once thought Mr. Reed was genuine, but his behavior changed the moment the pregnancy was announced.
Father, but the DNA says otherwise. I'm just a judge. DNA is the jury. Mr. Barnes, I know these are not the results you wanted, and I know you...
Judge Lake nods, empathetic. She's seen this pattern before. Men who promise the world. Until they're asked to show up, they took pregnancy tests together. Went to the ultrasound together. Ms. Marsh thought he was in it with her. But then he left. Not for work. Not for family. To console another woman. The audience gasps. Judge Lake is stunned. This man didn't just step out. He walked away in her most vulnerable moment. He's 40. She's 26. Judge Lake questions the age gap, the manipulation. Ms. Marsh's mom cuts in. Voice sharp. He sold her dreams.
Marsh, you and your mom have demanded the defendant, Mr. Reed, appear in court today because you say he denies your 1-year-old daughter, Tamari.
Judge Lake's response is swift and fierce. She calls him out for the chaos, the immaturity, the pattern of using women. He's 40 years old, but he's acting like a reckless boy. Judge Lake opens the envelope. She reads it, and then delivers the blow. Mr. Reed, you are not the father. Ms. Marsh sobs, devastated. Mr. Reed mutters, almost embarrassed. Now I feel like a goofy.
I don't believe that.
No, I don't, Your Honor.
Where'd you meet?
We met in Columbus, Ohio, but I lived in California.
Okay.
I had just turned 18.
Okay, so you met in Columbus, Ohio.
Yes.
So you all started dating.
No.
Judge Lake's response is perfect. Poetic justice. Now you know how it feels when the shoe's on the other foot. The room is quiet. Because Kama, it seems, has perfect timing. The courtroom doors open, and this time, it's different.
He had spent another $1,000 on her birthday party.
What man does that?
Me?
So wait a minute. You threw a birthday party for
children.
her older child.
Ms. Kavanagh enters with her mother and two men, Bowles, McKeli, both possible fathers of newborn Malcolm. Judge Lake's expression says it all. This is going to be complicated. Ms. Kavanagh admits she was with both men during the conception window. The room holds its breath.
I mean, he said this is my wife,
Your Honor,
and I said it's over.
Your Honor, on the way to the...
What?
Your Honor, on the way...
Hold on now.
Ms. Kavanagh insists Bowles is the father. Her mother stands beside her, fierce and protective, defending her grandson's right to know the truth. Mr. Bowles interrupts, voice sharp. He found an open condom wrapper. The tension explodes. Sparks fly. Accusations. Denials. The courtroom is a powder keg.
He said, you know what? I want to go back home. I have people in St. Louis that could take me home. He said, you're not going nowhere.
The reason I got upset is because her and the other person ruined my birth.
Bowles and Kavanagh were intimate early on. She defends it. We talked for years before meeting, but then she admits something else. She slept with McKeli at once, to make Bowles jealous. Judge Lake's voice is sharp, disbelieving. So you used one man to get another man's attention? The room shifts. This isn't just about paternity. It's about manipulation, on both sides.
We were downtown talking, and his mom was like, I thought he told you that he wanted 4 wives. I said, no, your son didn't tell me. He tricked me. So it's a difference.
And then Bowles drops a bomb. He claims she once faked a pregnancy. Ms. Kavanagh's face flushes. She admits it. She faked positive pregnancy tests to keep him around. The courtroom gasps. Judge Lake is stunned, but there's a flicker of amusement in her eyes. Because the irony? The real tests came back positive later, for real. Judge Lake calls it divine irony, and she's not wrong. Ms. Kavanagh admits she's learned from her mistakes. She was immature, desperate, but she's grown. Judge Lake listens, evaluating, because growth matters, but so do consequences.
So I found out I was pregnant. I called Mr. Reed because I felt sick. So we went to the store and got a whole bunch of pregnancy tests. Then we went to the pregnancy center. We got an ultrasound.
Bowles says he didn't believe her because she lied before. Ms. Kavanagh's voice cracks as she recalls him leaving her, pregnant and scared, to see another woman. Judge Lake's voice is firm. That's not friendship. That's foolishness. The audience reacts. Kavanagh is tearful but strong. She's fighting for her son, for the truth.
So you done come and got this young girl. You sold her a whole bunch of dreams.
I didn't sell her nothing.
And I believe
She's steady talking about what I'm doing, but she have numerous means.
Judge Lake asks the hard question. Do you want him to be the father, or do you truly believe he is? Ms. Kavanagh pauses. A little of both. The honesty is refreshing. And then she reveals something else. Mr. McKeli offered to raise the child regardless. Judge Lake's expression softens. Integrity. That's rare. McKeli enters, calm and respectful. The audience softens immediately. He tells his story. He courted her, took her on dates, was willing to be a father figure, even with doubts. The crowd responds warmly, because this man showed up, and that matters.
Except during that time as she was carrying your child.
Yes, I accepted it, but I wasn't for sure it was mine.
he don't want responsibilities.
But then McKeli reveals the twist. There was a third man, a drunken one-night stand. No protection. Ms. Kavanagh confirms it. Judge Lake's voice rises. You can't turn pregnancy into a guessing game. The audience applauds, because this is a life lesson.
Relationship, I guess she was stalking my Facebook, so she screenshotted him a picture of Tamari and he wrote me on Facebook, like, I want to see my daughter.
And it's one Ms. Kavanagh needed to hear. Judge Lake leans forward, her voice steady and wise. You cannot make a man love you by having his baby. Ms. Kavanagh nods, tears streaming. I've learned, for myself and my son. Judge Lake acknowledges her growth, because even in the mess, there's a path forward.
Grab my conception calculator. Tell me, when was Tamari born?
April 15th.
Jerome delivers the envelope. Judge Lake opens it, reads it, and then delivers the double blow. Mr. McKeli, you are not the father. The room tenses. Mr. Bowles, you are not the father. Ms. Kavanagh breaks down completely. Judge Lake's voice is firm but compassionate. Find your child's real father. Your son deserves to know. And then she delivers the final message, looking directly at both men. You weren't ready to be a father, but you need to be ready to be a man. Court adjourned. The gavel falls. And the truth, messy, painful, and necessary, settles over the room.